BFDI has been a web series on YouTube for over 13 years now. That's as old as me, and if you're clicking on this video, I'm sure you're familiar with the content, because today I'm seeing who is the worst and best character and what is the worst and best episode of each season. Let's start with BFDI. Best episode of the first season, I'd have to crown BFDI 6. The final elimination of the squishy cherries was honestly alright, like most eliminations, but the challenge really makes up for it because for the first time, contestants split into 5 teams of 3, which is a really cool twist and leads to some really good dynamics. Like Golf Ball, Rocky, and Snowball, that pairing was ingenious and improves the episode by quite a bit. The challenge itself is also pretty neat. You have to swim to certain islands and do certain obstacles. Like, when you get to Island 1, you have to cross the balance beam from the original episode, and after you get to the island, you will introduce the safes to have a combination on the bottom of them. And you'd hope to get a boat, but it would have other wacky things in it, like an egg and a teddy bear. After you row your boat to the next island, you have to stack up blocks up to get a key that unlocks the door to the next island. To complete the challenge, but some of these keys were darts to make it longer. Anyways, this episode is just really great in general, despite it being written by 12-year-olds. Good job, Jack and Jellyfeet. For the worst one, I have to choose a finale. I don't know how they executed the grand finale so poorly. A lot of the stuff is just kinda stupid, like the flying saucer and the infamous Fiery and Leafy feud. The drama was just absurd and didn't make much sense. BFDI isn't a great season, but this episode falls short on way more than any other. For the best character, I would have to choose SB, despite not getting very far in the season. But he still had his funny moments, like this scene.
Don't they make a great team?
Anyways, I just love SB. He is hilarious, and I love his dumb, mean personality. And for the worst character, I would obviously have to choose Flower. Flower was everyone's least favorite back in the day, so it should come almost no surprise that she is mine. Flower's horrible, rude personality is just traits I can't stand. I'm glad she was the first eliminated. So BFDIA wasn't a great season. Some of the episodes really lagged, and one episode had multiple parts to it. But my overall favorite of every episode was BFDIA 5e. The episode starts off with Pin and Needle putting Nickel and Coiny together. So that's cool, I guess. Then Team No Name goes to David Lamb, but that isn't interesting, so I'll just skip that. Then it cuts to Free Smart entering Yo-Yo City, and man is it beautiful and detailed. I love Yo-Yo City. I mean, how could you not love the yellow sky and the purple grass? Also, the recovery sensor gets stuck, and Pencil also gets taken by the fish monster. Honestly, I love this scene. I thought it was really funny.
Saw through me, yeah. Kill me quick, yeah. So we can win the contest.
Free Smart and Team No Name get to the summit of Yo-Yo Manor. But wait, Fiery Speaker Box reveals in a twist that it is way higher, which I think only makes the episode better. Also, this scene is really cool. It has some really good visuals. Free Smart get to the top, and Metro Bubble get eliminated. Warbunch throws a stick, and it hits Rocky. He gets eaten by the fish monster, then Coiny throws another stick, and it activates a magnet. And since Needle is metal, everyone holds onto her, and Warbunch gets to Yo-Yo Land. Warbunch also hits Rocky again, getting him eaten again. And then Puffball betrays her team to get the prize. And an awesome twist. So yes, you may be shocked that it's not BFDIA 6 or 7, but hey, it's just my opinion. Alright, let's get this out the way. I'm picking BFDIA 1. So the start is very random. For some reason it's just everyone chasing Leafy for a full 40 seconds until anyone says anything. And not to mention, they were right behind Leafy. How did they lose her? Anyways, Pencil gets her Leafy detector out, and they find Leafy again, and she teleports into a map. okay? And then the episode very weirdly transitions to the start of the season, and we are introduced to some newbies. After a lot of stupid filler, we are introduced to this team. So on one side we have the veterans, all the people in the previous season who made it to the season 2, and on the other side we have the newbies. And then a scene plays showing everyone's favorite camera variations, which I honestly couldn't care less about, and it doesn't matter to the plot at all. Anyways, Corny and Pin switch to Donuts team. The challenge finally gets announced, 80% into the episode. The challenge is also a tug of war, which is pretty stupid considering it's a team of 3 against a team of 18. And the team of 3 obviously loses. I mean, what a stupid episode. Terrible challenge and lots of filler. Plus, the episode is 7 minutes. How did they even fit that much filler in it? There's like 3 minutes of actual important stuff. Anyways, I just don't really recommend rewatching this episode. So one of my favorite characters in BFDIA used to be Corny, due to his recent personality acting like his TPOT counterpart, which I don't like because his only purpose on his team is to think of challenge ideas.
Guys, I just thought of a new way to stack things!
So a new favorite is now Fries. I enjoy his pessimistic personality and his role as comic relief on his team. He isn't the team leader, but he serves as a good role model on his team. He also has his funny moments, like in BFDIA 2, where he tells his members of the team to find ingredients down below in the dirt.
Get digging, Nickel! The ingredients are probably underground.
And his snarky remarks against Golf Ball.
You didn't assign yourself a job!
I'm team manager.
Great excuse!
And his overall funny moments are things just I enjoy about Fries. The worst character in BFDIA just has to be Match. Her sour attitude, her selfishness, and her laziness. I just can't stand her. But seriously, Match is just a horrible person and puts others before herself. And I just really don't like her. And I also don't get why people liked her in BFDIA. Is it because she's mean? Since IDFB is obviously only one episode so far, I will be showing the good factors and the bad factors of the episode, starting off with the bad because there are less. So the main issue of the episode are the characters. No one is overly annoying, thank God for that, but it's because some characters are very, very dull in this season. For example, Rocky, who does nothing but bath, still is particularly boring in this season. Bommy, who only says 2 lines in the entire episode, and yes, I am aware that is the joke, and a lot of others. No, I don't mean the people in the LOL. I mean contestants like Flower, Woody, Ice Cube, Spongy, Leafy, Evil Leafy, and Nickel, just to name a few. But that's basically it, since there aren't many bad aspects to IDFB. Let's look at the good aspects. Golf Ball and Tennis Ball enter this creepy abandoned science museum to look for gadgets. And we also get this really intriguing flashback about this character called Bozo, which is a seemingly younger Golf Ball, with these 2 random figures trying to hit her with a bat. So this episode is spectacular. This is one of the best episodes to date. I like the bad aspects. I'm gonna cover the entire episode. Free Smart is recording one of the video diaries, and Ruby forgets to turn off the lens cap. And it's revealed she never remembered to remove the lens cap in any of their videos, due to her irresponsible nature. Not to mention the alliance is golden in these again, especially Pencil catches her. These are some of the best character interactions ever. Fries and Pin talk about how Fries is growing his potatoes because he lost a lot of them because gelatin ate them and Fiery burnt them. Pencil falls off the building due to a wall teleporter in the science museum, which can free someone from the LOL, but there's a twist. The wall porter takes like 3 weeks to free someone, and the viewers decide on who to free. Overall, the episode was done amazingly. Now, I know I said good aspects, but I really wanted to review the episode as a whole. The character interactions are really well done, the mystery and suspense is great, and it's nice to see a break from the competition and just have the characters talk like normal people. Like I mentioned prior to the BFDIA best, Courtney was the best until new episodes. And since IDFB was 6 years ago, that stays relevant. Courtney is easily the most entertaining in IDFB. I don't mind his extroverted behavior. His personality is pretty great and I find him pretty cool. And the scene with him doing deep fried breaths was really funny.
Frying oil, so we can finally do some deep fried breaths.
Courtney is a solid character overall. You're welcome, Apoy fans, because Rocky gets the title for the worst in IDFB. It's not that I hate him, he's just so dull and boring. I mean, who actually had Rocky as their favorite in IDFB? He does absolutely nothing. His bathing isn't funny or cute, which can actually entertain the people who actually like him. He just has no significance in this episode. You could remove him and nothing would change.
Literally nothing happened.
Spongy wasn't in this episode, so why was Rocky? Alright, BFB time now. I'm gonna grade post-split and pre-split into different categories, obviously starting with pre-split. Now, undoubtedly, I'm picking BFB 14. Despite it being a carry-on of BFB 13, BFB 14 has to be one of the most incredible episodes of any cartoon series. Seriously, look how polished this animation is. Hot take, but the animation in BFB 13 and 14 are better than any recent TPOT episodes. Anyways, since this is a long episode and likely a long review, I'll try to get any nitpicky details out of the episode analyzation. The challenge is to find an emerald for X, and Team Ice Cube accidentally discover an inverted planet or something while digging, and start playing in it instead of focusing on the challenge. The video cuts to Foldy asking if Yellowface has any emeralds because he advertises for a big department store, which he reveals he doesn't have any real emeralds, but he has these fake ones, and they end up giving Thor a fake emerald, and it works, making their team the first save. Golf Ball's team also gets an emerald, because Ainz narrowly avoids them because they can't stand Golf Ball's presence. A better name than that returns to the surface and gives their emerald to Thor, which Deathpact again shortly afterwards steals their emerald. We cut back to Team Ice Cube, and Spongy cracks open a volcano due to his obesity, starting a lava apocalypse, which quickly invades Beep's hull. Team Ice Cube eventually returns to the surface because Bommy blew himself up for his team, and then they end up stealing the emerald that Golf Ball had. Along with the losers, Ainz finds an emerald, but shortly afterwards, lava invades their hull, and Team Ainz tries to escape, but Golf Ball stops them with their presence. Beep and Naily trying to unknowingly break into Golf Ball's factory, which he goes to check, leaving Ainz to get to the surface and be safe. We also get this heartwarming speech with Pin and Book. This genuinely is the best character interaction in the entire show. The lava apocalypse reaches the surface, and Courtney and Cake head to Golf Ball's factory to seek cover, which they meet Woody and Naily, where we get another heartwarming scene. And Woody ends up finding the last emerald in Thor's eye, leading to the satisfying elimination of Chracter. This episode is so incredible. The character interactions are at their finest, animation is spectacular, it's entertaining, and the drama is great. Everything is really creative and amazing. No wonder this episode took so long. Even with pre-split consistently pulling out great episodes, there still has to be a worst. This shouldn't be too much of a surprise, but it's BFB 5. I don't even care if you think BFB 16 is worse. At least stuff happened in that episode. For a while, I didn't even remember what happened in this episode because it's so forgettable. This episode is kinda on a similar level of IDFB 1. It's a short episode jam-packed with filler. Once again, the challenge doesn't start until halfway in the episode. Anyways, Ruby and Match are playing Spongy Kick together, and Flower tries to figure out what about her made Ruby think she's beautiful. And this goes on for like a minute until the intro starts. After that, we get the longest elimination ever. It takes 3 minutes until we get to the challenge. Even though it takes a while, it's not a bad elimination. It's kinda entertaining. For sure it's the best thing in this episode. Then we get to the challenge. It's paper planes, don't let it hit the ground. How interesting. It's basically just a snooze fest until beep and free food fall. And that's it. To sum up BFB 5, it's just a mediocre episode. Don't watch it again, it's a waste of time. Why has to be the best for me in pre-split? I mentioned earlier how the elimination scene wasn't bad in BFB 5, but she probably has the best outro to an elimination. Every scene with Lie in it is so good. I know no one thinks she was that mean anymore, but I really don't get how she got eliminated for one small thing. Ryder is a clear leader for the Exiters, and that role fits her perfectly. And it also makes her more of an interesting character and makes me like her more. Honestly, she was better than the Exit than she was competing. I really wonder what happens next with the Exiters. Lie is a really good character and is way too underrated. This is probably a very unpopular opinion, but I'm picking Leafy. If you're an OG fan of mine, you would know that Leafy has been my least favorite for a while now. I don't know how people didn't realize how fake she was in BFB 1. Leafy is a clear narcissist, and ends up showing her true colors in BFB 2. Leafy is an awful person in my opinion, and is not only annoying but just a horrible person. Leafy is so nice. I mean, wouldn't a nice person also kill someone in a painful fiery death? Post-split has been notoriously known to be one of the worst seasons in BFDI, but that doesn't mean good episodes can't come from it. For example, BFB 27 and BFB 22. It was a difficult choice between them, but overall, I chose BFB 27. Let me explain myself here, because I know most of you didn't expect this answer. But yeah, I actually really liked this episode. For one, the fact that they're in a different environment instead of the boring old pillory ruins is a nice change. The challenge is awesome. The creativity really shines bright in this episode. So, the final four have to escape an oven. First one to do so gets immunity. The character interactions are really good in this episode, which is surprising to me because everyone in the oven are intolerably annoying. I don't mind the mean-spirited behavior, probably because of people I hate going against each other. But either way, it's fine. It's far better than the TPOT episodes where everyone is uncannily happy. And yeah, I don't know why I like this episode so much, but in my opinion, this is probably the best episode. And it's such a breath of fresh air compared to the other post-split episodes. So thinking of bad episodes, a few come to mind while thinking about post-split, but none of them even compare to the abomination that is BFB 20. Before I cover anything wrong with the episode, let's just start with some good aspects before the sour, cynical review. The episode starts off with the Havcots in a spaceship with plastic windows for oxygen. Gelatin pops one of the windows with a fork. to see what space tastes like, causing the Havcots to run out of oxygen. Then they try to use the iPad to buy some more air, but they get interrupted by 4, hosting an elimination with their prize being oxygen. It's suspenseful and you want your favorite characters to be safe, so they can breathe. I gotta hand it to the writers. They did a great job with the elimination, but that is the only breath of fresh air you're going to get. A little bit after the elimination, 4 and X introduced the challenge, which is to cool down the sun, which is incredibly unfair considering the Havcots are literally on the sun, and they're also somehow not burning alive. The Havcots pour the ice, but the ice realistically does nothing, because the episode has to continue. So, that means the challenge completely changes, and if you cool down X and improve his garden, you get points. So the Havcots cool down X, and Blocky makes the sun hotter, and their teams rightfully lose a point and gain a point. But the next time someone cools down X, he gives them 13 points, which quickly removes the penalty that they got for making X hotter. And now X subtracts points for having the opposite opinion of them.
Why couldn't X have just stayed away? They're being very annoying today.
I couldn't agree more, Lollipop. X is a problem in this episode because we have to listen to his high-pitched, scratchy voice on top of all the filler and unfairness this episode has to offer. And then a lot of other stuff happens, but it's just filler to make the duration of the episode longer, so I won't talk about it. And now 4 and X are just subtracting points for actually no reason. Leafy pours ice on X and the Havcots win. After watching this episode, I lost some brain cells, because I have no idea what I just watched. This episode is so stupid and terribly executed. Also, the jokes are really, really bad.
Everyone knows that once ice touches the sun, we will destroy the outermost layer and sink right through!
Who laughed at that? Anyways, I don't want to talk about this anymore. It really sucked. Almost everything about it was terrible. This is one of the BFB episodes that I genuinely dislike. Let's just move on. Post-split, to put it simply, does not have a stacked cast. In fact, there are very few characters that I actually liked in this season. Some of them got eliminated pretty early, for example Ruby and Balloony. But I still have to pick one, so I guess I'm going with Teardrop. You may have been surprised how hesitant I was picking her regarding I put her 8th in my other recent video, but yeah, Teardrop is alright. There are probably characters I liked more than her, but didn't get much time to shine. Teardrop is a unique character due to her disability of her not being able to speak, especially because no one else is like her, unless you count Robody. Also, her overpoweredness is pretty cool in some scenes, and in other scenes, I kind of find her annoying, and I get why people hate her, but she has a cool concept and a pretty good execution. Pretty entertaining and sometimes relatable character. Buckle up, because this is going to be a really long review. If you don't remember, I said Post-Split doesn't have a stacked cast, but that's an understatement considering how awful some of these characters are. The characters are just another reason why I hate Post-Split so much. Some of them are unbearable and insufferable, especially because 2 of my least favorites made it to the end. Gelatin and Flour are so equally awful, I could rank them together. But in my opinion, there is one that is even worse than them. It's Taco. Taco is one of the most brain-dead retarded characters in BFDI. It's not even funny how much they absolutely annihilated her character. She went from the sympathetic underdog that got harassed on her team, that was pretty likable, into this annoying dumbass that is mad for seemingly no reason. We haven't even talked about her character yet, and we are already at a minute in this review. In BFB 17, for some reason, she is suddenly extremely rude to Loser for no reason. Loser did absolutely nothing to Taco, and she ends up being wrong because Loser's plan worked. And oh god, not BFB 18! Just watch.
Dora, what are you doing here?
Oh, for battle's sake!
TPOT contestants do not belong in this battle arena!
What the actual hell? Does she have a seeing disability? This isn't even ironically funny. This has to be one of the most poorest jokes in BFB history that only infants could find funny. And you know what? She isn't even the dumbest on her team because Fiery's on there.
I would support you, Spongy, but I don't see you wearing any friendship pride.
Okay, this might be a theory that Taco has some seeing disability. Because she was literally there in the background while Loser was making the bracelet bridge. Aside from being really stupid, Taco is one of the most excruciating, frustrating characters, which I hate so much. It's just my opinion, but she is a weirdo. Stay away from her. Ah yes, we are finally moving on to TPOT. Without a doubt, it has to be TPOT 2. Imagine this. You're a BFDI fan. You wake up in the morning and it's a Saturday, and you decide to scroll on YouTube, just to discover TPOT 2 has released. The excitement was in the air. My reaction was crazy to this one release. Similar to BFB 14 and 13, TPOT 2 was probably worth the wait. And it shows, considering it's the best episode of the season, and one of the best episodes of the series. Yes, Death Pact Again got a lot of screen time this episode, and it was a little unfair. But I think it was for the best, because every member on that team is incredible this episode. Anyways, for plot. Due to tragic events regarding last episode with the loss of Remote's battery, Death Pact Again tries to find a new one for her, and start with asking Robot Flower, then Cloudy, who ends up knowing where it is, in trade for a battery for a pile of items, because Cloudy has obsessive collecting disorder. And elimination time. Pie is out, and the challenge is stacking blocks. At first, this sounds like a boring challenge, but they executed it so well. I can't express how much I love the way the challenge plays out. The talk with Gady and 2 was pretty interesting and entertaining. Death Pact Again up to shenanigans in this episode, especially with Teardrop, was incredible. And overall, the funny shenanigans as a whole. Yes, a main issue with the episode were some characters, but some really improved from last episode. Marka and Tree are such improvements from last episode, and Rocky is somehow interesting in this episode. I have nothing that negative to say about this masterpiece. If you're new to the series, or you want to turn off your brain after some hard work at school for a good 31 minutes, TPOT 2 is a great idea. The humor is magnificent, animation is much better than TPOT 1. Everything is good about this. Go watch it. TPOT 3. It's not necessarily bad, mediocre, or tedious, but it's not as good as many of the others. Considering they recently laid Satomi from the job at the time, the quality had a noticeable downfall. But I'm sure that's just business, and they have to increase the consistency and efficiency of the episode. It's probably for the better, and it's actually probably none of my business. This episode is worse for basically one reason: the character interactions. Like I said, the episode isn't dull itself, but the characters kind of just feel like they didn't put much emotion or realism into them. Especially Death Pact Again. It's the complete opposite of TPOT 2. Every character on their team is just okay. TPOT 3 makes the character interactions in TPOT seem short-lived and stale. It feels like they're just trying to get finished with each scene as fast as possible. I didn't mind Death Pact Again hogging up the screen, because compared to this, they feel kinda boring this episode. But the episode itself is still pretty good. The challenge is actually really good and creative. At one point, this episode was my favorite, and it's because of the challenge and creativity that stems from it. Similar to the Mario movie, everything just feels fast-paced and not that meaningful. Entertaining, but not really much depth. Although introducing double eliminations was necessary, and also Serious Bottle was awesome. Which makes me think about it. The goods outweigh the bads. Another TPOT episode has a similar feel, but when I think about it, it has a worse challenge. Haha, tricked you. It's TPOT 6. The challenge was boring in this episode, and the character interactions were basically on the same level as TPOT 3. TV is an improvement in TPOT 6, and the journey was really cool, but this episode has the same issues as TPOT 3, but not the same positives. Therefore, TPOT 6 is my least favorite. and I can give Teapot 3 some slack. Tree is an incredible character in almost every aspect. Well, for mainly Teapot 2. He is still the same old person in Teapot 3 to 8, but he kind of fell into obscurity and oblivion. Well, maybe not that far, but they gave him way less screen time. Look, Tree may not be incredibly interesting, Fanny probably trumps him in that compartment now, but it's his personality. I can really relate to him, and I find him hilarious. He isn't the most interesting, but I adore his character. Even if he gets as much screen time as Teapot 1, that's fine. He needs to be in the spotlight more in my opinion. And I don't know many people who outright despise him. Anyways, Tree is the main reason why I like Teapot 2 so much. Writers, please listen to my demands. Give Tree more screen time that he desperately deserves. Pin. Yup, like Tree, Pin has been consistently in her placement since Teapot 3, because she simply never improved. Honestly, along with Nickel, Pin has probably been the most inconsistent in the series, and basically Teapot as well. In BFDI, she was a bossy leader who didn't have much remorse for others. In BFDIA and IDFB, she's this more fun character, but still aggressive at times. And in BFB, she is this kind, passionate, inspiring leader, and is quite paranoid at times. And in Teapot 1, she is like BFB, but really bland. Teapot 1 has to be Pin's peak, probably because she did nothing and was pretty boring. But in Teapot 2, I really don't like her. I can see where she's coming from, because she was constantly abused in BFDIA once you think about it. And, you know, she's still a paranoid person. But I didn't like the snitching part. It really made me hate Pin. And even Carrie, one of the Huang twins, said that what Pin did in Teapot 2 was not very nice.
It'll be a sequel to Gelatin Steakhouse. That's what it is.
Another team's idea.
That they're not using.
Still feels like cheating again. I don't want this.
Stop complaining about cheating, Pin!
In the rest of the season, the writers try to make her like her BFDI self, but they kinda fail, and just make her really annoying. Honestly, she fell off this season. Even though I described I didn't really like her, this was not an easy pick, because remember, Saul is in the season, and Nickel is certainly getting close, with all his gibberish. Does Nickel have autism or something? Also, that was just a joke, please don't take this seriously, especially if you have autism. Okay, we are finally done. Instead of concluding now, I'm going to put everything I ranked in a tier list, from best to worst, starting in S tier with BFB 14, one of the best cartoon episodes of any series ever. Teapot 2, incredible episode, definitely worth the wait. IDFB 1, phenomenal way to say that BFDI is back, no competition is a wonderful aspect. Tree Teapot, magnificent character, needs more screen time. Live BFB pre-split, amazing character, very underrated. Corny IDFB, really cool guy, never fails to entertain. Snowball BFDI, comedy at BFDI's peak. Fries BFDIA, great character, good comedy relief. BFDI 6, solid episode but nothing amazing though. BFDI 5e, cool and entertaining episode, every scene is interesting. BFB 27, masterpiece for post-split standards. Teardrop BFB split, unique character, annoying at times though. Teapot 6, pretty okay episode, they did try to make it good. IDFB Rocky, easiest method to fall asleep. BFB 5, bad episode, and has a boring challenge. BFDI 25, one of the worst executions in the show, pretty bad for a finale. Teapot Pin, very annoying at times and really boring at others. BFDI Flower, entertaining and funny, horrible personality though, unbearable. BFDIA Match, horrible, lazy and selfish person. Leafy, BFB pre-split, narcissist. BFDIA 1, so much filler, terrible way to start the season. BFB 20, please stay away from this. And Taco, excruciating character in every aspect possible. G for fucking garbage. In conclusion, BFDI is a wonderful show, and it had very few episodes that I outright dislike. Yes, some of them can be mediocre, but watching almost every episode of the series is always entertaining, and you can just laugh at the bad ones. And they always somehow seem to be very well animated. The animation on the episodes are so impressive. It's mind-provoking to think two 12-year-olds animated this. Jack and Jellyfy have lots of talent, and it's impressive how they created their own soundtrack. So did one, but still. Attention to detail is also great, and the references are always cool. And they managed to make their episodes always decently long. BFDI deservedly is my favorite show, and I can see why people dislike it, and that's okay because it's their opinion. But yeah, I would highly recommend getting your friends invested in the show. Overall, this is my biggest project yet on the channel, until new video ideas. And I ran into some errors into making the video, such as not having enough space to add clips or animate. But this video took me really long, so a like would be appreciated. And why not hit the subscribe button while you're at there? Bye until further notice.